Hello and welcome to another episode of Swifty Song Roulette, where I spin a wheel, I listen to a song for the very first time, I'm going to react to it and analyze it, and then we'll go back, we'll check out the chords, I'm going to learn by ear so that you can see the process, and then I'll write it down kind of in my own little shorthand as if I had to play that song for a last minute gig this upcoming weekend. Today, I'm replacing last week's song, which was My Tears Ricochet, and man, that was an awesome song. I really enjoyed that one. I'm replacing that with another one of Taylor's fan favorites. That's going to be Cornelia Street. So other than that, the wheel is still loaded from all the songs last week. I'll go ahead and post those right here. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and spin this wheel. Now, before I spin, I just wanted to point out that I'll go ahead and make chapters for this episode, so you can skip through all the boring stuff and chit-chat and whatnot. You can just go straight to whatever part in this episode that you want to check out. So what we're going to do here, we're going to, like I said, check out the song, we're going to analyze it, we'll go back, we'll take a look at the lyrics, and then I'm going to go back, listen to the studio version, check out the chords, any chord progressions or additional parts that stand out, and then I'll show you my final chart so you can play the chords at home if you want to do, or whatever you want to do with it. Also, I want to talk about my thoughts on watching the Miss Americana documentary and do the Chiefs chat segment. So we'll save that for the end this time instead of doing it right away. Additionally, I just wanted to point out that I went ahead and made a poll on the community tab, and it has 4 different Taylor Swift songs on it. Whatever song we spin this week, we're going to be swapping it out with the winner from the poll for next week. So keep an eye out for that and go out and vote, please. Okay? With that, let's go ahead and spin this thing. We got the song Would've, Could've, Should've. Okay, so this song is off the Midnights album, released in 2022. This song has 21 million views. Yeah, it says it was released 2 years ago. And this is the from the Taylor Swift Vivo channel. We're going in.
If you would have blinked, then I would.
Okay, so we have it sounds like maybe like a kind of grainy synthesized vocal sample it's been turned into a sample and just kind of repeating. There's another kind of little synthesizer part that came in there. You got some bass, some guitars, and then the drums are coming in. Along with now the lead vocal part.
Looked away at the first glance. If you tasted poison, you could have spit me out at the first chance. If I was some paint,
the second guitar part
on a promising grown man. And if I was a child, did it matter?
Those toms are really nice. The toms are.
All I used to do was pray. Would've, could've, should've. If you'd never looked my...
That's kind of interesting. The snare is coming in on the 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't really hear that a whole lot in pop songs, but I really like the way that this song is building up. Yeah, there's just kind of this constant churning feel about it so far. We'll keep going. I'm gonna check out the lyrics later. It sounds like always like Taylor's trying to say something here.
I would've stayed on my knees, and I damn sure never would've danced with the devil. At 19, and the God's honest truth is that the pain
maybe a second set of chords here.
Now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts. Memories feel like weapons, and now that I know, I wish you left me wondering. If you never
I'm guessing that's the chorus part. Back into the verse.
Along with the righteous. If I never blushed, then they could have never whispered about this. And if you never saved me from
It's got a nice feel to it as far as the
could've
rhythm.
gone on as I was, but Lord, you made me feel important. And then you tried to erase us. Oh, you're a crisis of my faith. Would've, could've, should've. If I'd only played it safe.
I don't know if I might have heard like I don't know if it was a synthesizer part in the background or like a bass that has like some heavy overdrive on it, just very faint in the background. And then it kind of sounded like I was hearing some like sustained acoustic guitar coming out of the chorus, maybe like a 12-string guitar, and going into the rest of the verse section, the second verse.
I would've stayed on my knees, and a damn sure never would've
Back into the chorus section here.
At 19, and the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven. And now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts.
The bass sounds really good on this track.
And now that I know, I wish you left me wondering. God rest my soul, I miss who I used to be. The tomb won't close, stained glass windows in my mind. I regret you all the time. I can't let this go. I fight with you in my sleep, the wound won't close. I keep on waiting for a sign. I regret you all the time. If clarity's in death, then what it won't.
Sounds like a bridge section here. Third set of chords.
Years of tearing down our banners, you and I, living for the thrill of hitting you where it hurts. Give me back my girl, but it was mine first. And I damn sure never would've danced with the devil at 19. And the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven. And now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts.
Man, the lyrics in this, I'm going to go back and check out the lyrics. They sound pretty heavy in this one. But yeah, this song kind of has this, like I said, this constant drive behind it. It's, I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to keep
Memories
going.
feel like weapons. And now that I know, I wish you left me wondering. God rest my soul, I miss who I used to be. The tomb won't close, stained glass windows in my mind. I regret you all the time. I can't let this go. I fight with you in my sleep, the wound won't close. I keep on waiting for a sign. I regret you all the time. Oh, God, rest my soul, I miss who I used to be. The tomb won't close, stained glass windows in my mind. I regret you all the time. I can't let this go. I fight with you in my sleep, the wound won't close. I keep on waiting for a sign. I regret you all the time.
Okay, I'm going to go back and take a look at the lyrics here. If you would have blinked, then I would have. Looked away at the first glance. If you tasted poison, then I could have. Spit me out at the first chance. If I was some paint, did it splatter on a promising grown man? And if I was a child, did it matter if you got to wash your hands? Ooh, all I used to do was pray. Would've, could've, should've, if you never looked my way. So far, it sounds like it is a much older gentleman who basically got in a relationship with Taylor. It sounds like there's definitely some regret left over from that relationship. I would have stayed on my knees, and I damn sure never would have danced with the devil at 19. And the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven, and now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts. Memories feel like weapons. And now that I know, I wish you'd left me wondering. Man, that's pretty strong. That is really strong. I mean, she danced with the devil at 19. And, now she's like, I wish you would have never come into my life and left me wondering. If you never touched me, I would have gone with the righteous. I would have gone along with the righteous, sorry. If I'd never blushed, then they could have. Never whispered about this. I'm guessing she's talking about the media right there. And if you never saved me from boredom, I would have gone on as I was. But Lord, you made me feel important, and then you tried to erase us. Ooh, you're a crisis of my faith. Would've, could've, should've. If I'd only played it safe. I would have stayed on my knees, and I damn sure never would have danced with the devil at 19. And the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven, and now that I'm grown and I'm scared of ghosts. Memories feel like weapons, and now that I know, I wish you'd left me wondering. God rest my soul. I miss who I used to be. The tomb won't close. Stained glass windows in my mind. I regret you all the time. I can't let this go. I fight with you in my sleep. The wound won't close. I keep on waiting for a sign. I regret you all the time. Obviously, this was not a very good situation for Taylor. And obviously something that she wished that she could erase from her life. If clarity's in death, then why won't this die? Years of tearing down our banners, you and I. Living for the thrill of hitting you where it hurts. Give me back my girlhood. It was mine first. Man, this is a pretty heavy song. This is a really heavy song. And I damn sure never would have danced with the devil at 19. And the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven. And now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts. Memories feel like weapons. And now that I know, I wish you'd left me wondering. God rest my soul. I miss who I used to be. The tomb won't close. Stained glass windows in my mind. I regret you all the time. I can't let this go. I fight with you in my sleep. The wound won't close. I keep on waiting for a sign. I regret you all the time. Oh, God rest my soul. I miss who I used to be. The tomb won't close. Stained glass windows in my mind. I regret you all the time. She's just repeating that. I mean, she feels incredibly strong about this, strong in a negative way about this person or entity. I'm not guessing this is as metaphorical as My Tears Ricochet is, and more about a direct relationship with an older guy who just really broke her heart, and she would have not gotten in that had she had seen any signs beforehand. Yeah, I mean, that kind of just tells us, that's kind of one thing in life, we have to go through these really bad experiences sometimes, and we have to get to our darkest points and most amounts of regret in order to turn the tide and to get to better days. And then you can reflect back on those horrible moments thinking, man, I should have been much smarter. And you can have the opportunity to change that moving forward. You just have to recognize that pattern. I've noticed, and there's another song where, she was talking about, themes of death, and, that's really kind of a more of a metaphorical thing of, turning it and getting into a new chapter in life and releasing the old person that you were and growing a little bit more. This happens over and over again in life. So this is definitely something that we can, take into our own lives and learn from in a positive way and be able to recognize those toxic people and toxic relationships and move away from it and grow into your own. All right, now that we've taken a look at the lyrics and we can kind of see the significance of the music within this song, let's go back and listen to the actual chords and figure out the specific arrangement of the song and the different sections of chords, and then we'll go ahead and transcribe this and make a chart for it.
If you would've blinked, then I would've looked away at the first glance. If you tasted poison, you could've spit me out at the first chance. If I was some paint, did it splatter on a promising
That's kind of what it sounds like. It's kind of what I was hearing in there. I'll go back and listen to that again. So we have a kind of hammers on from the G to the A. Slides up to the B, E, then it goes to the G, to the F sharp. We'll see if I'm just hearing harmonies in there. That happens a lot. I was a tenor, and so I hear a lot of harmonies when I'm going back and listening to these things. So it kind of sounds like there's a G, D, C. Let's keep going here. I don't have a strap for my acoustic, so I'm kind of working with it. Yeah, there's definitely a pre-chorus going on in there. Okay, so that was a E, D, C. I'm gonna go back and listen to this thing with my headphones on here in a minute. This is only my second listen, so I think it just repeats those same chords through the chorus. Repeats the chorus there. Let's see if we can get into the bridge section. Alright, so I went back and I listened to the song again one more time. I put the earphones back in, and then, I realized that I was kind of getting confused listening through this thing because there's some things going on between the bass, there's a couple different guitar parts, there's also an acoustic guitar part that's holding out some stuff at the beginning, but I think that I have the set of chords down. I think I have the key figured out. So there's an intro section, you have that little synthesized kind of vocal sample going on there at first. And then it sounds like there's two different guitar parts, maybe one pan one left and one pan right. But I think what they're doing here is they're playing a G note and a D note. They're sliding in to the A and the D right here. And basically that's the bottom part of a G chord there. It's your G, your root, and then your major third right here, which is going to be B. Oh. And right there, which is going to be leading into, it's setting us up for the chords going into the verse section, which are going to be that's kind of what I'm hearing. So starts off with a D, then to an E minor, a G, and then it does basically a D chord over an F sharp, which F sharp is going to be the major third in a D chord. Only you're playing that down here as the root. Now I'm putting my thumb here. A lot of times what musicians do to kind of make this easier, you kind of set what I call a pivot point. And so your pivot point would be right here at this D note. So you have your D, and actually I was letting the E ring out, so it's kind of doing a D suspended second chord there. And I'm keeping my finger down here. I don't know if they're doing this in the recording or not. This is just a common thing that a lot of acoustic guitarists and songwriters like to do. Right there, so we're just playing an E minor chord down here, and we're adding this D note into it. Then we're going up here, we're playing the G chord, only I'm leaving my pinky off. You could probably put the pinky on there, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. In the context of playing this thing live, sans the studio recording. Then you have this D over an F sharp, but you can actually just kind of flip-flop your fingers here, moving from the G. So then I'm playing my F sharp down here, and I'm basically kind of playing a D chord up here. I'm just letting that E ring out up top. Alright, I need to not hold my guitar that awkwardly. So here we go. All right, so that's going to be your A section. That's going to be your, basically the verse chords, and it's used in other points in time. Now, the arrangement is a little bit tricky with the songwriting because, where there's a pre-chorus section in here, but it sounds to me like there's two different sets of chords for the first pre-chorus and for the second pre-chorus. So the first, what I would call a pre-chorus, is just doing those same chords in the verse. All right. Then, when you get to the chorus section, it's going to be playing a G, a D, and a C. You can also, if you want to keep doing that pivot thing, you can keep your finger planted here at the 3rd fret on the 2nd string, and that note is going to be D. So the last section would be G, D, and then the C. If I keep my finger planted here on the D, that's going to add a nice little sound. It's like a suspended second sound, which is really nice. All right, and then it goes back into the verse chords again. Your D, E minor, G, then you got your D over your F sharp chord. Okay, then the second pre-chorus is going to be using a different set of chords here. It's going to be an E minor to a D to a C. It's leading into the chorus section because E minor is the relative minor of G, which is what I think this the key of the song is. All right, so we have our second chorus going on here. G, D, and C. It basically does a double chorus here. I'm going to call the second part of this the extended chorus in my notation down here. It's basically just doing the chorus twice, but she's using kind of a different lyrical pattern over that. All right, and then we have a bridge section, which is going to be E minor, D, and C. Okay, now the bridge section, and those are actually the same chords from our second pre-chorus. All right, so it goes through this bridge section once with those chords, the E minor, D, and C. And then for the second time through that pre-chorus, it does the G, the D, and the C, or C suspended second. You can really swap those out. I mean, I'm not locked into these all the way. So I'll explain here in just a little bit. All right, and then so after the bridge section, you're back into the chorus, and this is going to be a triple chorus. So we have a G, a D, and a C for that part. So it plays that entire chord progression through multiple times, and then it just ends on that C and holds it out. All right, so yeah, it was kind of tricky in the beginning because, there are all these extra kind of notes going on. They're being pieced together in little chunks. So, like I mentioned, the beginning part, where you have this little riff that you have, sounds like one guitar part doing this. The second guitar part's doing this. And then, on top of that, it sounds like there's maybe some, I can't tell if they're capo chords or if it's like a 12-string acoustic guitar, just kind of playing some open chords in the background. But all that stuff's going on in the background, and then you have the bass line playing behind all that. So there's a little bit of initial, I guess, like ambiguity when it comes to figuring out what the chords are. These are all kind of just common notes, though. And then coming out of the first chorus, there's a part where you're playing those A section of chords there, the same ones that I was just playing, the D, E minor, G, and then the D over the F sharp. But there's another kind of guitar part just playing D. That's the D octave. You could probably just kind of play that D like that in the background. Okay, so in this intro section, right there, you're basically playing sliding from the 3rd fret up to the 5th fret, and you're holding down the lower 2 strings, the 6th string and the 5th string. And what you're doing there is you're creating basically the root and the perfect 5th of a D chord. You're sliding into it right there, only the 5th is on the bottom and the root is right there. Let me use my pick. And then you're playing the root and the major 3rd of a G major chord. And then right there you have the 5th and the 3rd of the D chord. So let me just go ahead and play the beginning part. I'll try to play along to it. I don't know if you can hear it very well, but... You can hear those acoustic guitar chords playing in the background. So yeah, that's basically the song right there. One thing I keep noticing about Taylor's arrangement style is that these arrangements are pretty, intricate. So they're, I don't know if it's her or the other producer songwriter that she's working. Is it Jack Antonoff is his name, I believe. I need to know that. But yeah, I think that somebody comes in with these smaller sets of chords, and you just kind of piece them together, and then before you know it, if I was to write out this entire chart, it would probably be on a couple pieces of paper. Now, I use my own shorthand where I will write out the chord progressions at the top, and then, if there's a lot to the song, I'll kind of detail that below. And obviously, if I'm playing this for a last-minute gig, I'm going to listen and play to it a bunch of times. So I operate on feel a lot of times when I'm out there playing. You can feel the push and the pull of where this song is going. If you have to play it in a last-minute situation now, obviously you get that into your... You get that into your song list, and then you play that song multiple times, and you're basically practicing on the spot. That's how a lot of cover bands do it. I've played in a couple bands where we played dozens of gigs, but only practiced once or twice. Anyway, here it is right here. So we got the key of G. We basically have 3 sets of chords right there, and these chords are. I'm gonna stand up here. So yeah, you have your intro, which is using the A chords, the verse section, which is using A, and then that first pre-chorus, still riding out the A chords there. Then you go into the B set of chords in the chorus section, back to the A set of chords in the second verse, and then in that second pre-chorus, you're using basically the chords from the bridge section, the C section. Then you're back into the chorus, using this B set of chords, and then an extended chorus. So it's basically a double chorus there in the middle of the song before the bridge, which the bridge splits up the chords from the C set of chords the first time, and the second time through it does, 2 times after it does that, it goes into the B set of chords. Then you're staying in the B set of chords for a triple chorus, and you're bringing it all home on the 4 chord, which is going to be C. I am starting to realize Taylor likes her 4 chords. She makes her 4 chords very strong in her songs. And a lot of people rely on the 1 chord and the 5 chord to bring their strength. So I think that's kind of a unique thing. Now, she's not the only person to do that, but compared to a lot of other artists that are out there and producers and stuff that are out there writing music, there's definitely a formula to it all. But this is really taking this simple formula here and really making it complex through moving these chords around in different parts of the song. So, one more time, Would've, Could've, Should've in the key of G by Taylor Swift. There are the chords up top, and then there's the song structure below. If you want to figure that out and play along with this at home or work it up for a cover gig, there you go. All right, so that's the song there. Now I want to chat about some other things here. So in order to gain a deeper insight of what motivates Taylor Swift in her songwriting and everything, I decided it was time to watch a documentary of her. So I watched the Miss Americana documentary for the first time right after I recorded my last video last Monday. I record my videos on Monday, release them on Friday. And this, first of all, what a great documentary. I mean, it followed her throughout her entire career, basically, and mostly probably focused on, I'm not sure what albums she was recording when they had some studio time in there, but, it bounced between watching her in the studio, developing these songs, developing these themes and motifs that would turn into songs. It showed her a little bit on tour, and, it talked about some of her, history and things, some of the double standards in today's world in the entertainment industry. One thing that I really stood out to me was Taylor spreading awareness and talking about something so personal as having her eating disorder and how she's dealt with that and how she's come to terms with, feeling comfortable in her own skin after all these years. And it shows that, even though she's big and famous, that, everyone has their own individual things that they deal with and that they have to keep at bay. And that was really awesome of her to talk about that in this documentary. I'm sure that took a lot of strength to say that on camera. Another thing I did is I went back and rewatched her New Heights episode, which, I am a loyal 92%er. Even though that is an Eagles term and I'm a Chiefs fan, I do love that podcast and watch it religiously every single week. It was really cool going back, and now that I'm starting to familiarize myself with Taylor's music and her as a person. I'm still a Swiftie in training here, but that was really cool. Just going back and watching how happy her and Travis were in that moment, and playing off and riffing off one another. I remembered that she had talked about, how amazing it was to win back her masters after all those years. That is such a huge thing for any artist. Every artist needs to own their own music and have the rights to their music, because art is not an asset or a commodity. It is something that is your consciousness and your soul out there to the world to see it in whatever medium you choose to put it, whether it's, sculpture or painting or poetry or music or all of the above. So art is special. And Taylor is an amazing artist at large, not just a musician and a poet. She is an artist. I loved hearing the story about how her and Travis really met. And I remember, Travis on the, I watched that Pat McAfee show also in real time when that was happening, when all this stuff was happening. And Travis is like, I'm going to take my shot. I'm going to bring a friendship bracelet and give it to her at her concert. And then, he shows up to Arrowhead Stadium and knows the elevator lady. And she's like, no, you can't come up here, bro. That is hilarious. But I'm glad that, through, social media and friends and stuff, that they were able to finally connect, and, they just hit it off. And, it reiterated how similar, their lives and paths are, just on two different platforms. So I loved rewatching that, and I'll probably go back and rewatch that again. Like I said, New Heights is such a great podcast. And if you haven't watched New Heights, go out and check the New Heights podcast out with Travis Kelce and his brother Jason Kelce. It's really good. But, I gotta idea of, just her personality and, as huge as she is, how grounded of a human being she is still. And Travis is that way too. And I just think that is amazing that people can get so incredibly famous and, they're just so grounded. All right, let's have a little Chiefs chat here. So yesterday, the Chiefs played the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know how a lot of Chiefs Kingdom felt going into this game. Maybe a little bit nervous just because of the performance that we've had. It's been kind of inconsistent. Both of these teams were 1-2 going into this game, so we'd each won one game and lost two. So whoever won this game was going to be even at 2-2, and whoever lost was going to be 1-3. If you start the season out 1-3, it's a tall hill to climb to get to the playoffs at that point. There's still a lot of season. Don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of season left, and a lot of things can happen, and teams can get hot. But the Chiefs ended up winning that game. They actually looked really, really good in that game, to be quite honest. They won 37-20. The last Ravens touchdown was in what people would consider garbage time when the game was basically already over. So, it was 30 would have been 37-13. But when teams are up by quite a bit, they start to get a little lackadaisical on the defensive side, and other teams score points. They call that garbage time. But Patrick Mahomes had 4 touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns. I can't remember I don't think he threw to the same person twice, as far as the touchdowns were concerned. I don't think Kelsey got a touchdown, but he, definitely helped us move the chains up and down the field. But this was the return of Xavier Worthy, who has been out since the first game of the season with a dislocated shoulder. And, Xavier Worthy was looking real good. And we don't even have our number 1 wide receiver back. He's coming back after the next 2 games. He's been on suspension for the first 6 weeks of the season. So, and that's his name's Rashee Rice. So, really looking forward to getting Rashee Rice back into the mix. Tyquan Thornton, who's been kind of a standout in the meantime, he scored a touchdown, and he's still looking good. I mean, he wants to keep that roster spot, and we need to keep him around as long as he's hot. We got our running game going again. We got our third string running back, who I think we drafted this year. He had some great plays. Patrick Mahomes broke a NFL record, which he pretty much does almost every single game and has for a very long time. But he's the fastest quarterback to 250 touchdowns since the beginning of their career. That's Dan Marino was the one to have that record up until this point. But that's just huge. Just every week it's ridiculous. Andy Reid also kind of broke a record too. He was the first coach to coach 200 games for 2 different teams. He also coached the Philadelphia Eagles for over 200 games. I don't know how many games he coached there exactly, but that is crazy within itself. I mean, he's already a living legend. Yeah, Xavier Worthy was back. Defense had 2 turnovers in that game, I want to say. And, we only had, oh my gosh, this was kind of a weird thing. We only had 1 punt, and it was at the very end of the game, or in the fourth quarter at least. So that's kind of rare when that happens. Usually teams punt the ball multiple times throughout the course of a 3.5-hour game. But that was kind of wild to see only 1 punt in that game from the Chiefs. The Ravens were very banged up on defense. They have kind of a decimated defense right now. They have multiple defensive starters that are at the top of their starting list that were out for this game, and they lost 1 or 2 in that game. And, Lamar Jackson, their quarterback, went out toward the end of that game. I don't know if he got injured or if they were just pulling him because it was pretty much over at that point. But we'll see what happens when the injury reports start to roll out this week. But the Ravens, man, my heart goes out to them because that it is horrible when your team gets bit by the injury bug. And, football is a next man up philosophy. So, those guys aren't going to make excuses for anything. But that's just kind of how it goes. It's a very, very rough game. But the next game for the Chiefs is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're a tough team. You never know week to week how teams are going to look. And they have kind of a not really too much of a new core this year, but every team, reinforces what they have in the offseason. So I'll be interested to see what Jacksonville has. That one's on the road, but it's always a good battle. Always a good battle between them, and they're in the same conference as the Chiefs. So this is a little bit more meaningful than the Eagles game a couple weeks ago. Ravens are also in the Chiefs conference, so that'll help the Chiefs out getting that win. But we're deep into it now, so we're just gonna have to see what happens as the weeks progress. All right, one last time, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the chords for this song and the layout. If you want to play this one at home, there you go. Also, remember that I have a poll up right now on my community tab. It's going to be going throughout the entire weekend, so get out and vote. I have 4 songs up there right now, and those are The Black Dog, August, Cruel Summer, and Enchanted. And whichever one gets selected over the weekend, on Monday, it's going to replace Would've, Could've, Should've. So get out and cast your vote if you want to select the next song on the wheel. Another thing that's happening, Taylor's dropping a new album here on the day that this thing's released, actually, on Friday, October 3rd. So I'm going to check that out, and maybe I can just go straight into doing a song if it gets released on YouTube or something. Maybe I'll listen to the entire album, I don't know. But I'm excited to check that out, and I'm really excited to just continue to explore Taylor's catalog, because I'm incredibly impressed so far at the level of, musicianship, songwriting, her high level ability to write poetry and also arrange these songs. So yeah, I'm really interested to keep diving into the Taylor Swift catalog. All right, that about does it for today's episode. I want to thank you for joining me today, and if you made it to the end of the video, congratulations, thank you very much. If you like this kind of stuff, I'm going to keep rolling with this for a little bit, doing the what was Spotify Roulette, now it's the Swiftie Song Roulette. As I explore Taylor's music, and we have this little Taylor Swift fans, Chiefs fans connection going on. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, please do me a favor and hit the like button. And if you have something to say or anything to add to this conversation, please drop it down below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I read and try to respond to every single comment. So, and if I miss you, sorry, sometimes they get kind of buried in the multiple replies. But I am making an effort to, chat with everybody out there. So thanks again. And as always, I'll see you next time, friends.